presentation about it's sort of very much about the individual businesses that are attending here. I've got the list of people who were in attendance or hoping to join. So I've got a couple of examples on people's websites of things that I found that might be quite interesting. People can kind of do themselves. I've got some tools that I'll show at the end as well that people can kind of use and utilize, which I think will be really good. A little bit about Netmasters. So we're a full service agency. We've got 3 offices in East Anglia. Got just over 115 staff. So what we basically do is we do anything sort of digital, predominantly with websites and marketing. Me personally, I head up the marketing and web development team here, and I've been here for just over 5 years. I'm actively on the tools, and I'm also sort of in the account management sector here as well. Yeah, as Zoe said, happy to sort of answer questions as people go along, put a message in the chat, or sort of open up the forum and things at the end. More than happy to share this as well. I don't know if I'll get people's email addresses, but if I won't, I'll share this with Zoe, and then she can sort of share with the people in attendance as well. Okay. So, what is, I guess, strategic digital marketing? So, strategic digital marketing is the development of a marketing strategy that's aimed at leveraging digital channels to deliver consistent quality and quantity of leads over time. So the goal here at any business is, if you want to grow, if you're perfectly happy where you are, that's great. But if you want to grow, if you want to increase turnover, increase profit, increase the size of the business, you need to ensure you're getting more inquiries through to the business. Now, how those leads and inquiries come to you is going to sort of vary depending on the business sector, etc. Where it might be very weighted towards word of mouth. You might have a big sales team and you have to rely on cold calling and things like that. It will sort of massively vary, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're getting leads through to the business. Established businesses all need leads. They need to be able to manage them, and you need to know that kind of marketing is a necessary cost. I'm sure there might be people in here who work in marketing at the moment, part of a marketing team at sort of the company they work at. I'm sure you're always kind of batting your head against the wall sometimes, talking around sort of budgets and what you need to be spending on marketing. Key thing for us is marketing is a necessary cost that any business needs to be putting out. Okay, so 4 reasons a business is not growing or is not profitable. You don't have the facilities and equipment to do more work. So this is kind of where you're limiting yourself as a business to be able to kind of take on more work or not be as profitable as you can be. Don't have the cash flow and commercials to do more work. You don't have the resources and people to do more work. You don't have enough or consistent work to do. This is the worst reason to have. So I guess kind of twofold. You want to ensure that your pipeline is good. We're getting a good amount of leads, inquiries, and work through the door, but also ensuring that we're getting a consistent amount. There's nothing worse than I'm sure if anyone here is in the kind of building trade, for argument's sake, at the moment, absolutely manic. But those kind of trades very much sort of up and down, seasonal ones as well. So again, it's just about trying to ensure that we're getting a good level. You never always get 100% the same consistency all the time, which is making sure that we're trying to get a good level, consistent level through to the business. Okay. So the direct effects of not having consistent or enough work in the business. So reluctant to take risks as a business, you're not necessarily willing to maybe invest, open up new offices, take on new staff. You're having to put up with difficult customers. I'm sure there's many people on this sort of seminar at the moment who probably have customers that they really like working with, but also customers that maybe aren't necessarily the ideal customer, but they might need to work with them to ensure that, again, that they're busy, the pipeline's full, etc. Discounting to win work that you don't necessarily want. So again, easing into your margins, but also necessarily taking on customers that might not necessarily be that ideal sort of fit for your business. Taking on work might be difficult, risky. Good example would be maybe taking on customers who haven't got particularly good credit rating, who might want to pay over 90 days or even further, where you're constantly having to chase invoices for. Again, you're kind of just taking them on board to make sure that you've got that work. Again, businesses being subject to variable profitability. So really nice sort of visual on the right hand side of what this leads to when we're not doing, we haven't got a good marketing strategy in place, is we have the desirable work, profitable work, good customers all in the green. The break-even point is towards the top there. So that means we have to have the undesirable, unprofitable work to ensure we sort of get to that break-even point. So, not necessarily too bad, but looking at that kind of model, we can definitely help and improve that. So the direct effects of having enough work and consistency. So what this, I guess, the direct effects of having enough work consistency, confidence to invest in growth. So what this allows you to do is invest in new locations. A really good example is Net Matters. We've been going just over 10 years. We started as two brothers, James and Chris, who sort of still actively own the business. We've always made a profit each year. Our target is to grow between 20 and 25% year on year. We have the ability to invest. We had started with one small office, and we've now got two offices, and we've got our eye on a fourth one. But we have the I guess the confidence to be able to invest in our growth as a business. We are much more able, and they're kind of businesses who do this are much more able to sort of take on work and cherry pick the work they want, that they know is going to be a good fit. I think but that's really important, as well as things like staff retention. There's nothing worse than giving work to staff that maybe they're not going to particularly enjoy working on, customers who aren't particularly polite. Again, it's going to kind of just help the general morale of the team. So something that I think I'm really sort of personally aligned with, ensuring that not the work that we're taking on good work, but we're also taking on work that the staff are going to enjoy. It means we haven't got to discount any work. We're not having to take on risky or low margin work. We're not having to pick up with difficult customers. People on this video call will know the amount of time that you have to spend when you have a difficult customer who is querying every single invoice they receive, or whatever that might be. Just the amount of volume of time that takes up. Again, this kind of allows you to sort of better work with nicer customers. Able to impose favourable payment terms and other measures, e.g. direct debit. So this is something that we've recently sort of rolled out as a business. We've always had direct debit in place. We now have it actually, so it's mandatory in place. So we won't work with anyone unless it's on direct debit. Again, it just ensures that the accounts team are much more efficient. We actually find that by customers going on direct debit, there's less queries around invoicing as well. So again, just from a time management point of view, it's much more it's profitable and better use. Consistently more profitable, and be able to plan for the future more effectively. So obviously what you want is, we want to be profitable, desirable, good customers, and the fit is ideally in the middle. That's the sort of the holy grail of where we want to be. Okay. So again, going back to that kind of visual that we had before, just kind of loosely say a company turns over 10 million, makes a margin of 11%. You don't do any marketing. Okay, that's great. We've got that margin of 11% there. We do marketing, and what that kind of allows us to do is look to increase our margins overall, because there's less waste, there's less sort of time involved with just managing bad customers on the phone. Staff retention's high because they love what they do, they love the kind of customers they work on. And so what you find is actually that kind of break-even line is a lot lower, but we can kind of cherry pick the work that we want. So actually our kind of profits and where we want to be is just filled of good quality work. So this is kind of much more longer term, but that's kind of where you want to be as a business. So if you need a dip into any of this kind of sector at the top, you can do. The majority of your customers are going to be made up of that sort of bottom green section. And I've got to chat a little bit later around an exercise that we do with our customers around sort of modeling and looking at your top customers, and how you can kind of use that data to ensure that they're the kind of customers you go with moving forward as well. Okay, and I'll share some sort of spreadsheets, etc. after this, which you might find quite useful. So how do you get to the point where you have enough work to do consistently? Okay, so step one, the opportunity to present your offering. So I'm sure everyone on this video call has a fantastic business. They're excellent at what they do. But what you need to ensure you'll be able to do is you need to be able to present that offering. If no one can see that offering, or you can't get in front of people, that's kind of where you need to look to improve your marketing. Step two, a compelling offer. So as you're a successful business, you already have a compelling offer. The offer is refined each time you present your offering against your competitors. I don't have an issue converting once I'm in front of a customer. I just need more leads. I need to get in front of more people. So something that you can quite often hear with people we're talking to is, if I can get in front of a customer, I can normally win the work. The issue is it's getting in front of the customer. Again, you can do things like networking events, etc. And seminars like this are fantastic, and always probably going to be a big sort of chunk of getting inquiries, that sort of word of mouth. But it's very time consuming. If you can have a website or social media or a LinkedIn profile that gets in front of more people, and then kind of you're getting leads come directly into you rather than you having to go out and find them. Again, it just makes you much more efficient as a business, and allows you to sort of cherry pick the ones that the more preferable ones to the least preferable ones, shall we say. So developing strategic marketing. So determining objectives. So key thing here is to, I guess, look at the objectives of the business. So this could be overall objectives, business growth, where we want to be, turnover, new authors, whatever that might be. Determine the volume of leads required. So what we want to do is we want to look at, okay, how many leads do we want to be receiving on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis to allow us to hit those key objectives that we have as a business. Determine the type of leads that reacquire. So this could be down to individual services. You know, if you're a company that offers multiple services, you determine the type of leads that you reacquire, broken down, etc. Geographical locations, quality of leads, determine what customers you want through data analysis. So something that again we've done here is we modeled our top 50 customers. What we basically looked at were the top 50 customers in order of spend, so how much they spend with us on a yearly basis. We looked at things like their SIC code, so what sector they're currently working in, how much staff they've got, what service did they first buy of us, geographical location, all this kind of different analysis. And what we've done off the back of that is created a lead score. So it's a lead score that's out of 12 that has kind of like a little bit of it's very simple algorithm behind it. But what it allows us to do is when we have an inbound lead come into our business, and it's something that we're pushing onto our customers as well, it means we know kind of roughly how much time to invest in them. A higher lead score is more likely to turn into a favorable customer, so we can put a lot of time into that business. And again, a lower lead score might be something where we don't spend a huge amount of time on them, we just give them a rough idea or cost up front, and if they want to proceed or go ahead, that's great. There are obviously anomalies with certain businesses around this, but as a whole, we've been doing that for about 2 years now. It's been absolutely fantastic for us as a business. So again, I'll run through some sort of ideas, suggestions on that a little while. But yeah, key thing from you guys when you're kind of working on your marketing is look at the objectives and ensure that everything we're doing is aligning with those. It can be 1, could be 5, could be 10. You know, there's no kind of set amount of where we want to be, but that just ensures that we've got a clear sort of goal, clear vision of where a business is heading to. Okay. Setting budgets. So setting budgets. Now, there's no technically, I guess, right or wrong figure in terms of what you should be spending on marketing. Really sort of varies depending on kind of what sector you're on, whether you're an e-commerce website or most of your work comes through word of mouth, etc. But a really rough idea is between 2 to 10% of your turnover on marketing. I would say with businesses that we're working on that are growing and ambitious to grow, this is kind of roughly where they're sort of spending their turnover on marketing. Now, when we talk about marketing, this isn't just a website. This could be a sponsorship, it could be radio advertising, it could be printed literature. It's anything that you kind of take on as marketing. We have telemarketers here as well. We've got 5 telemarketers, so they're sort of within our marketing budget. They're kind of seen as a marketing extension of the business. So kind of 2, I guess, rough figures or 3 rough figures of what we sort of see in terms of customers we work on. About 2% is roughly probably where you are, or you're kind of happy where you are. You sort of want to maintain growth. 5% is where you want to be if you want to sort of maintain a good steady rate of growth. And then 10% of turnovers if you're ambitious, you want to grow, you want to open up new offices, you want to take on more staff, you want to set the world on fire. That kind of gives you a very loose rough idea of sort of marketing spend and where you want to be. It is very hard to kind of say, okay, this is what we should be spending on marketing. So what we tend to say of customers is, start low, start seeing some results and put more money into it. Certainly as you start getting you're having your sort of I guess your benchmark of success and able to track leads and things your end. Okay. Setting expectations. So something that you're offering this as a service, and it quite often happens with us, is we're not getting any leads through. Why aren't we getting leads through after day 1 or day 5 or within a week or anything like that? So key thing is we're only kind of marketing. It's about doing the work, reviewing how well things are moving, looking at kind of the current leads and that are coming through, looking at leads that are good quality and reviewing, okay, they're great, how do they find us, etc. And also looking at leads that are, I guess, not as good quality, reviewing, okay, why do they contact us, why aren't they a right fit? And then going back to those kind of initial stages and just continuously sort of reviewing and iterating the sort of marketing strategy that you've got. So what we kind of loosely say is you can't expect instant results. It isn't always an ongoing journey. You have to go through the learning phase to create your marketing mix. Your cost per acquisition will be your squeak point. Now, what we want to do, or what we want to ensure is we're tracking leads. So whether it's in a simple Excel document, and I'll show you one that we create for some of our customers in a little while, or whether it's a CRM system that you're using, we want to make sure that every lead inquiry you're getting through to the business, you're tracking them somewhere, you're tracking the source of that lead. So again, was it a social media? Was it a networking event? Was it the website? Was it word of mouth? Tracking that source in there. And ideally then, if you're if you're a business where you send a quote gets accepted and then won, again, you're tracking those sort of 2 bits of data as well. And that will just give you a good level of data around sort of leads, time from initial inquiry to quote stage to one stage again. So you can kind of look back and say, okay, well, on average in between Q3 and Q4 were pretty quiet. Lead time 6 months, so 6 months before then we need to actually start doing some work to ensure that sort of during the usual quieter period we actually can maintain that nice sort of busy period. So cost per acquisition, so this is the cost you're willing to acquire or willing to spend to acquire a lead through to a business. So how we kind of measure this is we know that our average lifetime or yearly spend for a customer is X, profit margins of this, etc. We want to grow to this. So we know roughly what we're willing to spend per sector to acquire a lead. Ours is a couple of £100, depending on sort of what sector it is here, etc. So, it's one of those things where you've got to be able to put a good amount of money behind it. That will vary depending whether you have a client who is ongoing or retained, or whether it's a one-off piece of work. Obviously, one-off piece of work will have a lower acquisition, because you can't enter as much margins as something that is a retained or on an ongoing basis. But that is something that is always a good conversational point with any clients of ours. How much are you willing to actually spend to acquire a new lead? So have a good think about that afterwards. And then mature businesses work on a lifetime value, not a single sale value. So again, this is a real key thing for us here when we're sort of talking to customers is, okay, we're looking at that lifetime value. So fully appreciate you can't look at, how long that client is for 20 years and we're going to, take the first year of profit off that to acquire them. But we need to look at that kind of lifetime value, how often do customers grow? Can we sell new services to them, etc. And then sure, we'll kind of working on that. So it's not just about that initial bit of work we're doing for them or that initial month's retainer or whatever that might be. It's looking at that sort of longer term lifetime value. And what those will do is, yes, it means you pay a little bit more upfront, but it means you're getting good customers and you're growing in the long term. So what we do is we start at kind of like a low phase of this amount of leads that we're getting through, and then we sort of gently increment that over time to the point of where, actually, okay, we're getting a good amount here. We're happy where we currently are, or we can still try to grow that up as well, okay? Creating a marketing mix. So real key thing here is there's not sort of one good marketing channel to be doing anything. Again, can talk from very good experience of us at Net Matters. Our biggest sort of lead or referral is lead sources is referral. So it's customers recommending us. It's speaking to people. That's our biggest lead source. It's then followed by telemarketing. We get some cracking leads through telemarketing, and then it's followed by the website and then all the other sort of lead sources underneath that. But key thing is what you want to ensure is we've got that sort of good marketing mix. So we've got things like PPC. I'll run through some I guess individual marketing points in a minute, but PPC is pay per click. These are the paid ads at the top of Google. So content, this could be content on both your website, could be content you're putting out on other blogs or thoughts or news pieces to do with your sector. Telemarketing, so this could be just general sending out the odd sort of cold emails, try and to local business say, okay, look, can we work with you? Again, following up with a phone call. Social media and SEO, so search engine optimization. Again, I'll run through those in a little bit more detail in a minute. This is where it goes back to that, looking at those top 20 customers, because you can see, okay, these are top 20 customers. This is how they found out about us. And that allows you to kind of put good budgets behind, okay, these are sort of the sources of those leads. But in terms of creating your mix, you want to define your target market. Okay, so this is the people that we want to go after. So types of businesses, the decision makers or the sort of key contacts within that business. Are you working with directors? Are you working with, so quite often for me, it's marketing managers? Are you working with the finance department? Who are those sort of key people within a business that you want to liaise with? Define your customers' needs and motivations. So, okay, look at those customers, why did they inquire? Have they got a problem they need solving? Have they got a business issue? What are those kind of motivations that they're looking to reach out, and try and see what you can do to get in front of people at this point of need as such. Create content and branding that appeals to them, not you. So again, it's something that is we often see is people are putting content out that they're writing. Good example is we work with quite a lot of solicitors. Quite often solicitors will write content for their websites that's very inward facing, so they understand it makes sense to them. But if you have someone externally who come in and read that, it probably wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. So it's about ensuring that the content appeals to those kind of people, not just yourself internally. Create a blend of what channels you want to try. Again, try things, see if you get anything from it. If it doesn't work, at least you've tried it, you've signed it off. We can kind of put budget elsewhere. Create a plan and budget for each channel. Implement and review. adjust and react, but only where you have the depth of data. So again, it's key to make sure you're collecting enough data to actually say, okay, yes, that worked, or no, that didn't. And then record your cost per lead or cost per acquisition for each activity, and then look for kind of marginal gains. Okay, so going back to us as a business, our cost per acquisition, cost per lead was quite high, and slowly over time we've actually managed to halve that to a point of where it's roughly sort of staying the same, and it's at a level where we're really happy, and the directors are happy for it to be at. Okay, so in terms of measuring, engaging performance, so I guess key metrics, or how we measure success, how we measure performance. At the end of the day, it's leads. It's getting leads through to the business, tracking those somewhere on a website, spreadsheet, CRM system. Also looking at conversions. So this might be not a direct lead, but a conversion could be many sort of different things. Conversion is something that you would set up and say, okay, I'm happy with someone to do something around that, which means that there's some kind of intent there. So a good example would be if you're maybe I don't know, if you're maybe a further education or a college or something like that, it might be just download a brochure. So you want to download a prospectus or something like that on a course that's being run. So it's not a direct lead, potentially, depends if you capture information or not, but it's still, it's still part of that process. Someone's downloading some kind of brochure or information, they're showing some intent to do or to attend or to inquire with that business. We want to look at traffic. Now, traffic is a bit of a tricky one. Increasing traffic's great. Any marketing agency can increase traffic. So we want to go back to those conversions leads, make sure it's of good quality. We still want to measure traffic, and we still want to get more people to a website, to social media. Picking up the phone into the through into reception, whatever that might be. And then brand awareness. Brand awareness is always quite a hard one to measure. Out of any of those, brand awareness for me is fantastic. There's nothing better than people saying, "Oh yeah, no, I've heard you, or I've seen you, or I heard about you on this, or I've actually seen so and so, etc." Again, very hard to manage, but brand awareness is really important, and any kind of marketing feeds into brand awareness, again, whether that's offline, online, etc. Yeah, looking at the sort of the graph on the left hand side, the kind of goal is to obviously increase leads over time. You can then measure your conversions, your traffic, your brand awareness, and what you'll loosely see once you kind of measure this and sort of compare it over a period of time, there will be some sort of commonality. So you might realize actually if we get, I don't know, a 20% increase in traffic, we then get a 10% increase in conversions, and we get a 3% increase in leads. So you will tend to find some sort of commonalities there in the data. Okay. So pitfalls. So I guess key pitfalls with marketing. So we're talking about, I guess, us as a business. We've probably only really started doing marketing properly for us internally about sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Again, it was something seen as a bit of a necessary evil. Don't want to spend a huge amount of money in that. We had kind of big ambitions to grow. We sort of took the plunge, and it's been absolutely fantastic for us. But something I guess has happened to us and happens to lots of companies in terms of pitfalls, expecting too much. Again, if you can't expect the world from marketing straight away, it's just about kind of nice small steps to look to increase and improve things over time. Reacting to blips. So again, a good example was COVID. Fully appreciate you've got to have the budget and the money, and depending on kind of what sector you are, but reacting to blips. So good examples will be COVID or Ukraine or cost of living or anything like that. Suddenly going through and saying, okay, right, that's it. Things are looking a little bit tough, suddenly pausing. And then what happens is actually at the point of where there's less people searching, less people looking online, less people looking for inquiries, you're turning your marketing off. If anything, that's when you want to be pumping your money into marketing to ensure that you're increasing your market share. So for the reduced amount of inquiries and leads there are out there, you're hopefully you're getting a good pop at those. Not marketing, obviously a very obvious one, but still happens quite a lot, which is people aren't doing a huge amount of marketing. So again, we're continuing to fill that gap of undesirable work. And then dipping their toe rather than jumping in, not embracing marketing. So again, when we're looking at clients, we're saying, you've got to be looking at this for a good sort of 3 to 6 months where you're not going to make any money from it. You really need to look to commit to this for a minimum of a year to really start seeing some good fruitful results. But again, you tend to see marketing, it's sort of a snowball compound effect. So again, anyone here who's looking at I guess investing, whether that's looking at an agency, a freelancer, whatever that might be, always look at this from sort of 6 to 12 month period, not just from a 1, 2, 3 month point of view. Okay. So examples of strategic marketing. So search engine optimization. So again, just to kind of run through this is SEO. So this is where you rank in Google below any paid ads. So if you were to search, family law solicitor, Cambridge, or wills near me, or something like that, what you probably have 3 results at the top that are paid. You then have the Google map, which probably has sort of 3 results below that, and then you have further results below the map. Anything below the paid is classed as SEO. Now, where SEO is really good is you don't pay for it in terms of when someone clicks on that result in Google, but it takes a long time to get there. And obviously, the more competitive that sector is and that area is and things like that, and that service, the harder it is to rank on the first page of Google. You don't need to be at the top. The goal for us with any customers to be sort of towards the first half of Google. And basically what Google wants to deem what they deem as the best result or the best sort of page or website or company to serve that search in Google to rank towards the top. So again, this is if it's something that's not particularly competitive, it's something you can do yourself quite well internally. And again, you might just look for external help for some consultancy or to kind of up that. And then it's probably when it gets to the more competitive sectors that you might look for some external help to help that. I guess in terms of just some key figures, 72% of all users only click on a result on the first page of the main search engines. So obviously a huge amount of people don't go down further than the first page. Google are currently trialing in another country continuous scrolling. So a bit like if you go on social media, you can keep scrolling, you haven't got to click to the next page. They are trialing that. So usually what happens is they trial it elsewhere, and usually in America, and then eventually they'll bring that change over here as long as it goes well. So gut feeling is at some point you won't have the ability to select next pages at the bottom, you just kind of keep scrolling. So for us, where that, I guess, it plays a big importance as being on the first page, probably be less important than it currently is now, but ensuring that the bits of copy, so the meta title, meta description, the bits that Google reads and it shows to you in the search results, are sort of captivating, encouraging someone to click through to the website. 62% of all users only click on results showing the first 5 positions, and 28% of potential customers will click on the top organic result alone. So again, really key to ensure that we're on that first page of Google, or ideally towards the top, and we're getting people to kind of click through to the website. Okay, and then something that I guess can further this is Google reviews. So most of you probably will have a Google business listing linked to your business. So if you search your business name in Google, you might have a box that comes up on the right-hand side. A key thing that you can be doing is getting Google reviews. So this will very slightly impact your SEO from a positive point of view. But what it will also do, if someone did search your service in Google, they clicked on the map, you go to the map listing and you've got the list results on the left-hand side, you've got all the sort of people's reviews there. And just like when you shop on Amazon, you're going to be naturally drawn to the businesses that have the sort of the highest and the highest rating and the largest quantity of reviews. They say the magic number is 4.6 as an average. There's been some sort of study done that says 4.6 just mentally in someone's head seems to be the sort of the right figure. Anything less than that, you think, oh, I've got a couple of negative reviews on there. Anything more than that could potentially look a bit, oh, that seems a bit weighted, almost a bit too high. So 4.6 is where you want to be, and the more you can kind of get there, the sort of better that will help people driving through and searching for your line. Okay. PPC, so pay per click or AdWords. So these are basically paid adverts online. So this is where, again, if you're an IT company, I think there was someone who's in cybersecurity. So again, if anyone's kind of searching around, IT company near me or anything like that, what you can do is you can do a paid ad at the top of Google. You can geo-target it. So the ad will only show within a certain radius as the crow flies of a certain location, etc. You can do it so it only shows at certain times of day on certain devices, etc. And then you only pay when someone clicks on that ad. What's really good around SEO and AdWords is those ads, those results only showing when someone is searching something in Google. So there's already that intent there. Whereas if you're doing, a radio advert, or you're doing an advert on a bus, or you're doing sort of social media advertising or anything like that, you're getting an ad in front of someone in the hope that when they see that ad, that they're looking for that service, they're then going to click through and potentially convert. The nice thing about Google is that you're getting in front of someone at the point of when they're searching. What you can do with PPC, you can further that to say shopping ads at the top. See where you have an ad with a picture, price, etc., and takes you through to the website. You can do displays. This is where if you go, say, book a holiday, you went on Jet2 or KLM or someone else, and you went to other websites, you might see those adverts that follow them around. Again, we can do that across social media as well. That works really well. But yeah, PPCs definitely something that everyone should be trying. Something that we something that quite often we hear is, "Oh, I did PPC, but I ended up blowing a load of money. I don't really know what I got for it." We hear that quite a lot. I guess it's good that talking over, that's why agencies are here to kind of help with that. But if you do want to manage it yourself, I guess the thing is to make sure that you've got some kind of tracking in place. Ideally with Google Analytics, you can actually measure how well it is succeeding, and don't go and put loads of money behind it to start with. Do it just in sort of small increments and see how well things perform. Okay. And then another thing you can do with PPC, or what's really good with PPC is let's say you haven't done any SEO, search engine optimization before, you want to start doing some work. Again, it's going to could take 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks before you start seeing any kind of results from an SEO point of view. But PPC will allow you to get to the top of Google straight away. There's a lot of people who won't click on an ad. Usually because they've got some fear of the ads, or think they're a bit spammy, or often ads don't actually set up particularly well, so they don't go to the right page on a website, whatever that might be. So for us, it's about ensuring that we've got that good full marketing mix, and we are looking at both SEO and AdWords. Okay, again, a couple of figures. On average, 41% of all clicks go to the top 3 paid ads on search result pages. PPC visitors are 50% more likely to purchase a product than organic visitors. So again, very, I guess, relevant and important if you're an e-commerce website and selling products online. 8% search ads could increase your brand awareness for customers by up to 80%. A couple of other things you can do as well with AdWords. You can bid on competitor names. So if you were to type in Net Matters at the moment in Google, you might actually see other competitors or other ads appearing at the top. That's where someone who's managing AdWords, either that's that company or an agency on their behalf, is actually bidding on our brand name. So again, you can do that on different competitors, etc. It doesn't work particularly well. You won't probably see huge results from it. And what we try and actually do is, if we see anyone bidding on our name, we reach out to them and say, look, do you mind not doing that? We won't bid on your name. Let's just save budgets all round. But you can get quite sort of clever and creative with sort of different things around that as well. Okay. So email marketing. So email marketing is where you've got a database, you've got an email address, you've got a name, and you know, says what it is on the tin really. You're sending emails out, so whether that's kind of newsletters as a business, you're letting them know about kind of new products or services or something that's going on within the sort of business sector. It's a really good, low cost, powerful tool for re-engaging with either existing customers, current customers, and just helping or building brand awareness. Also, you need to ensure that how you're capturing data is, GDPR compliant, and you're kind of ticking all those sort of boxes, etc. Your email marketing is fantastic. Plenty of tools out there to do this. Our kind of preference is MailChimp. You might actually see their adverts sort of going through on TV at the moment. And then what you can do is you can design an email that's really nice and smart, comes into your inbox, click that link, and it takes you through to a news post, a product, whatever that might be. B2B, it's more from a brand awareness point of view. If you're B2C, it can certainly help sort of drive direct sales. We manage a website where it's the UK's largest website, where they sell pick and mix through the website. About 45% of all their revenue through their website comes through email marketing. So for some businesses, it is absolutely massive in terms of the amount of traffic that it can push to a website. You can put tracking in place. So we're able to actually track and see, okay, for people who came through the emails, what do they do on the website? Did they go through and convert, do anything, etc.? So we can track that all through sort of Google Analytics and various tools. And again, you can do some quite clever stuff. So you've got abandoned cart emails. You go and add something to a basket, you get those emails, after a period of time saying, would you like to come back? Again, we can sort of integrate it with CRM systems. So if you've got customers who on average inquire every 3 months, but this customer hasn't inquired for 4 months, or maybe we need to send them some kind of offer to try and get them back into the business because they might have gone elsewhere, etc. So again, we can kind of do some really clever, smart stuff for email marketing. And it does, if you've got a sales team, it does also give you some good sort of intel that the sales team could use, who's opening, how many times those kind of people are opening it as well. Okay, so that's email marketing. Some figures on the right. So 59% of B2B marketers say email is the most effective marketing channel in terms of revenue generated. 138% of B2C purchase products for email spend 138% more than those that don't receive email offers. Again, I'm sure most of us here have had an email through some kind of offer, just clicked it, put it in their basket and gone through and bought it. 73% of millennials use emails as their means of business communication, and 73% access emails mainly through mobile devices. So again, making sure that email is optimized on mobile. Another key thing to be doing here as well is there's nothing worse for me than I've gone and bought products historically from a business. I go and search them in my emails. I find that old email. I click on that link, so I think I want to rebuy that product, so I want to reorder it because I've run out or whatever. Click on the email, I go for that website, and that page is broken. That page no longer exists, that product no longer exists, etc. So again, if you're doing anything like that, make sure that any old emails that you've got that you've sent out, if that page no longer exists on the website, you're redirecting that page to the next most relevant page on that website. Just ensures a good seamless customer experience, and people are doing that. Okay. Social media. Obviously, social media is massive. You've got loads of different platforms out there. If it's B2B, we're going to be probably looking more at LinkedIn. Again, if it's kind of B2C, we might be looking at Facebook, Instagram, etc. You've kind of got two main things you can do on these platforms in sort of really layman's terms is the organic posting. This is the day-to-day posting of imagery, etc. posts that go out. You've then got the paid ads. So you can build up an audience and say, okay, on Facebook, I've got a business that sells pregnancy sort of products and maternity products. So, we want to look at people's buying signals around that. We want to look at an age range of between this and that. We want to look at female. We want to look at, average salaries of this because it's maybe a little bit more of a high-end product, etc. We can build a really good audience throughout, England, UK, Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, wherever you kind of want to target those ads, and put those ads out in front of those people with the idea they're going to click those ads, come through to the website, buy that product or make an inquiry. Again, we can kind of track all that data as well. Okay. LinkedIn for me is really good, really important. I am a big believer, unless you're looking to do paid ads as a business, a lot of social media can be managed in-house as long as you've got the time. I don't think you need to be paying an agency to do a lot of the kind of day-to-day posting, unless you're looking to do the ad side of things. But again, on the B2B side of business, LinkedIn's really good. Just general pieces that go out as a business, so as your company business page or the key individuals of that business. Get the kind of senior members of staff in that business to like that post. Again, just kind of build that organic reach, and ideally sort of share stuff that's going to drive people back to the website. So not everything, but again, if you want to look to kind of share, for us as a business, our posts always perform best on LinkedIn, the ones about staff. So it could be birthdays, it could be promotions, anything around that. So you're sharing that information on there, trying to drive people back to the website as well. So yeah, it's a fantastic tool and definitely one exploring. Some figures on the right: 22% of world's top population uses the social media platform Facebook. Absolutely massive. On LinkedIn, 98% of posts with images receive more comments and posts and links that have a 20% higher engagement rate. That's a real key thing for me on LinkedIn. I quite often you see when people either haven't put a link to something, so you can't actually, they say, look, we've launched this new service, but there's no actual link, so I can't go and find it. Or again, imagery and things like that. What you'll tend to see is just something that visually looks nice will have more engagement, more people either like it, click through, comment on it, etc. 88% of businesses with more than 100 employees use Twitter for marketing purposes. Again, Twitter is one of those ones where it sort of really depends on your sector and your industry. We don't do masses of it here as our company, but it does work well for some of our customers. So again, it's just kind of looking at the data and what's behind it. Okay. Telemarketing. So telemarketing, I think, tends to have a little bit of a negative sort of connotation behind it. I think it's just kind of, cold calling, drumming up new business, hassling people and that kind of thing. That's not how it should be. So for us, or how we kind of manage telemarketing, and we have a team that we outsource as well on behalf of other businesses. It's about getting good leads, getting good quality leads, building rapport with people. So we're never trying to sell on that first phone call. Most of the time, we're warming things up with an email first, then following up with a phone call. But telemarketing is fantastic. I think if you do it well, when we have outsourced it before, and we've got kind of mixed results, and that's why we brought it sort of in-house. Yeah, telemarketing is absolutely fantastic. And I think something that's often overlooked, but definitely worth exploring for business. So again, whether that's just calling up to capture email addresses, contact details, etc., or whether it is actually to try and secure a meeting, send over a sample, can we chat over and demo something, whatever that might be, it's definitely worth sort of looking at. There's some really good tools out there to manage it. One's called Close.io. So Close.io, it's like a telemarketing CRM system. You can just pump loads of data into it. And it's just a really sort of good way of someone to manage it. And again, if you just want to maybe look at, from an outreach point of view, you want to look at just sending emails, so instructor emails to people. Again, it gives you some good tools to be able to do that. You can see who's opened emails, how many times they've opened it, etc. As well. But yeah, for me, a market channel that often is overlooked, but does actually feed into the other marketing channels really well as well. Okay, some figures on the right. Following up with generated leads actually increases sales opportunities by 20%. But it may sound really simple when the amount of businesses who don't follow up on inquiries or do it within a timely fashion, etc. Really key to be doing that. 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups. So this is where someone's inquired. You might have to look at booking initial meeting. You might have to try and tie them down for that second meeting or that pitch, or whatever that might be. But sales or contact people, they will require multiple follow-ups. On the phone, tone is 86% of our communication. How you say it, not what you say, makes up a large part of whether your prospects will pay attention. So again, part of our telemarketing team, really nice, good bunch of people. They're people you'd go for a pub with and have a drink, really nice sort of bunch. And I think that's a real key thing here, is you're not trying to hard sell people on the phone. It's just about sort of building that rapport, asking how the weekend was, making notes of your previous calls, etc. Were they on holiday? How was the holiday? Really small, simple things like that. But it means that's how you make sort of telemarketing, that sort of outbound lead generation a success. Okay. So example of strategic marketing. So this is based on us at a period of time in history. So at one point we were getting sort of 24 leads a month, and then this is actual, this is real data in terms of kind of how it looked on a monthly basis. So we were averaging around 21 leads, and then kind of later on at that period of time we were averaging 33. So for us, as we grow to get more staff, we need more leads to basically feed the mouths of all the people that are here. And then what we do, so our kind of marketing channels that we do here are telemarketing, PPC, so we do a lot of paid advertising on Google. We do events, so this is either maybe events or seminars that we put on. This could be where we're attending events, networking events, etc. Social media marketing, we do quite a lot organically on social media. We do a lot of paid on there as well. We do a training course, a website developer training course. We get a lot of applicants through that. So again, from a B2B side of things, we don't get much through social media, but on the sort of training course and the young applicants on that, we get a lot through. Seminars, exactly what I'm doing here. Again, sponsorships. So we look at doing sort of various different sponsorships, whether, I'm quite into my triathlons and things, and we do some kind of sponsorships around that. Again, individual people doing things, charity events, etc. Live chat, something that we're seeing more engagement on at the moment, and we're sort of looking to push out to, or we are pushing out to more of our customers, is live chat. So it's just people being able to find the information that they need relatively quickly. They might have just a quick question that the website didn't quite fulfill. So just having a really nice live chat bot on there. You can do quite clever things with live chat. So if you're not logged in, the live chat won't show. So again, you can't disappoint people. You can get good apps on your phone, so you can kind of manage it through that way. But live chat's definitely worth doing. Awards dinners. So we try and put ourselves forward to quite a lot of awards. Again, for us, it's not about getting direct leads or inquiries from that. It's brand awareness. If you're, good example is Archon up here. Archon in sort of around here do quite a lot of sort of award dinners, etc. So if you can kind of put yourself forward for an award, go mention Net Matters in front of an audience of 200, 300, 400 people, it just helps with that brand awareness. And then again, email marketing. We tend to use email marketing here just for more, just awareness of maybe things that are going on within specific sectors, with any kind of updates of technologies, or just letting people know about the business. Again, as a company, we don't get much through email marketing in terms of leads and inquiries. It's just from a brand awareness point of view as well. Okay, so how to get started? So I guess a couple of key things are accept that marketing is necessary. Accepting that marketing is necessary. It's something that you've got to be spending money on. It's something you've got to be doing. You might already be doing a little bit of marketing at the moment, but you need to be doing more. Determine the objectives. Okay, what are the goals and objectives? So, it might be that within 3 years, I want to retire. I want to look to open up a new office, or get to a point of where I've got a good kind of, a sort of a management team below me, so I can actually start stepping back from the business over time. It might be that I just want to be able to kind of turn over this amount by a certain date, or I just want to beat another competitor that's local to me and do a better job than them. So, okay, what are those objectives? Then look back and say, okay, how can marketing help me achieve them? Make a plan. So again, whether this is internally or with the help of kind of a marketing consultant or a marketing agency, okay, look at making a plan of how we can get there. Look at budgets, actually how much can you afford to pump into this for a good period of time? what would be your sort of cost per acquisition, how much should you be willing to spend to make a lead, but look at sort of making a sort of a very loose sort of idea and plan. If you Google marketing plan, marketing communications plans, there's loads out there that will give you some kind of really good information that you can kind of follow. Look to implement that plan and work towards it, and obviously review success of how well things are doing. And it wouldn't be a seminar about a shameless plug. So yeah, ultimately chat with us. There's plenty of other good agencies out there as well. So any kind of agency that has got good reviews on Google, etc. Have a chat with any of them and say, okay, look, this is what we're looking to do. This is kind of the goals of the business. How can you help with us? I'd probably say if you're looking to outsource or get some kind of external help, I'll probably speak with maybe 3 different companies. I think that's sort of a good amount, sort of get a good value. I guess key probably red flags for me are never work with anyone who'll guarantee anything. Does happen in our game, and lots of people get burnt, etc. And also, I think just look at case studies. So look at what people are doing or what they have done, and look at those kind of case studies as well. Ideally, if you can get some relevant to your business as well, would be fantastic. Okay, so that's kind of the seminar. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run through a couple of pages here as well. So I don't know if this person's on the video call, but there's actually someone here from Cambridge Regional College. So I've got a couple of websites. I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can be doing your end. Really, really nice website. Something you can do is basically to see how well your website will perform, or basically how much you're ticking Google's boxes, do something called a lighthouse test. So if you open up your website in Chrome, hopefully you can see it's okay. If you right click and clicking specs, then what that will do is open up this little tab on the right hand side here. Make sure it's, if I click that, make sure it's not set to like a responsive and mobile version. Okay, so you can just click that again and that'll bring out hold on, there we go, the desktop version. Click these little 2 dots here, these 2 chevrons, and then click Lighthouse. Okay, and then what that will do is, it takes a while to run the report, so I've done one here. And what I'll do is basically give you a report, give you some kind of information, some data, some kind of key facts and figures. Some of these you might be able to do. It could just be potentially images need compressing or things like that. It might be some bits that you could put over to the person who built the website and say, oh, look, I'm looking to improve this over time, and gives you kind of a good level of stuff that you can do. But yeah, it basically gives you a couple of key metrics. So performance, accessibility, best practice, and SEO. Performance is kind of more about the usability of it, so kind of how quickly it loads, how kind of how well it's going to kind of interact on different devices. Accessibility is what it is. Best practices is just kind of more the tick boxes with Google, and SEO is kind of how well it would work from an SEO, from an optimization point of view. But that's a tool that you can kind of readily look at yourself, which is really good, really useful to do. Next thing to look at is cookie policy. So something that we're seeing more and more are people's cookie policies being updated. Obviously, there was the regulation that came out a while ago saying that basically you shouldn't be able to kind of tracking anyone's data unless they consent, unless they agree to it. Okay. Something that we see a huge amount of times when we're taking on customers is they have a really nice sort of cookie policy banner at the bottom. But if you actually look in their Google Analytics, so if they've got Google Analytics on the site, you look at their Google Analytics, it is tracking data as soon as you land on this website before anyone clicks agree. So what it's worth doing is having a look at your analytics and just making sure, so again, do it in incognito mode. You can see real-time data and analytics, have a little look in there and see, as soon as I land on this website, is it tracking me before I click agree? And if it is, you're technically not fully compliant. Now, personal opinion is there's not cookie police out there hiding behind hedges, taking people down, etc. But our kind of view is all it takes is one disgruntled customer or something like that. So he's got too much time on their hands, and you never know what could happen. So if that is the case, have a chat with the people who built the website. Ask them just to look at improving that. The best sort of visual example is B&Q. If you go on B&Q's website, you can't access the website until you've accepted. What they've done is, I haven't got it up actually, but it's the kind of the branding, the colouring of the cookie policy acceptance on there does kind of lead you towards accepting it rather than going through and amending it. If you go on our website, it's a good example as well. So ideally what you want is you want people to be accepting the cookie policy so you can collect and track data for marketing purposes, but then you're also ticking the box, sort of the GDPR and those kind of boxes as well, okay? Another thing we do is we use a tool here called SEMrush. So anyone who's on marketing might already sort of use this tool. It's a fantastic tool that basically allows you to monitor your website, audit your website, see how well it's doing from an SEO point of view, technical point of view, both from me as a user when I go on the website, but also from a keyword, from an SEO point of view. Sometimes they run a free trial that you can kind of set up and get kind of limited access for. Otherwise, it's sort of a couple of hundred quid a month. But it's definitely worth doing something, and it's an absolutely fantastic tool. It's sort of the bread and butter of everything that we do. It's got a good API which we plug into sort of other systems here to kind of automate work. But yeah, basically you can audit your website. You can see how well keywords are doing, so where you're ranking in Google. You can look at your competitors and see where they're currently ranking. You can put a keyword in, okay, and see who are the top sort of 10 people who are ranked for that keyword. You can suddenly see if competitors are doing more SEO work online as well. So that gives you an idea that they sort of might have instructed an agency to start doing work. But yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant tool. What I've also done is Thisland, which is it looks like I think a property development company. I think we're signed on to come onto this. I don't know if they're on it or not. But I've put their website, and they've got a really, really nice website. And what I've been able to do is I can put their website in, just give it a couple of seconds because I'm on a video call. But what you can basically do is you can see what keywords they're ranking for and what keywords are driving the most traffic to their website. And then you can also see the traffic volumes behind the keyword as well. Here we go. So filter this in terms of the percentage of traffic it's driving. So you've got kind of different keywords. Thisland, which is their company, their brand name, you expect them to be first. Property Developers Cambridge, they're fifth in Google, which is which I think is really good, really positive. You can see the monthly search volumes for those keywords. So Property Developers Cambridge gets 140 searches a month. The brand, the company name, 320. Let's have a little look what else there is. New houses in Cambridge might be a relevant one. They're 54th, which has 110 searches a month. You can also then go through and see actually, okay, which page on that website ranks for that keyword. That's really important because there's nothing worse than doing is you search for a service or product or whatever that might be, and you end up landing just on the homepage, or you end up landing on a page that actually isn't 100% the right page to be landing on. So you've got to go on some wild goose chase to try and find that page on there. So again, we want to make sure the right page is landing or is ranking for that given keyword. But yeah, really interesting. You can see roughly the amount of traffic they're getting through to their website on a monthly basis. You can take this considerably further than this to do some sort of fantastic analysis on where things are going. But yeah, it's a really, really good tool. Recommend anyone who wants to take the next step further to look at look at SEMrush and see what it can do. Okay, so top 20 customers. So what we basically done is the exact one that we use as a company initially. So we put the customer name, order it. We did our top 100 here, but top 20 works for most businesses. How much they spend on a yearly basis. The key contact. So who is the key contact there? Who are we working with there? We have who is the account manager, who is the business, their turnover, credit score, employees, the sector, subsector, SIC codes, again, sort of the county that we're working in, the source they came through, which sort of services they first buy from us. Do they have an in-house marketing team? Is it an e-commerce website, etc.? And again, what that's allowed us to do is build an algorithm which says, okay, out of 12, this is what we're going to score that lead when they come in, etc. And it's purely based on that data. And that does give you some really, really good information that you can actually kind of use and utilize moving forward, and a fantastic exercise that I recommend anyone does. Again, I'll either share this with Zoe, or if I can get people's email addresses, I'll share this with you afterwards so you can go and take a copy for yourself. And in terms of like lead generation, if people haven't got a CRM system that they're using at the moment, a really simple way to track leads is just an Excel or Google Sheet document. Again, this is one that we sort of create for customers who maybe might only have sort of 5 staff, etc. So they don't warrant a CRM system necessarily internally. Just real simple Google Sheet documents. You've got the date, you've got the source of that lead. So was it website, customer recommendation, email marketing, etc. Again, you can tailor this to you. For this example I copied, they work with sort of people who are either trading or a startup business. So what kind of business is it? What sector is it? Is it animal, human, or servicing? The product, the company, contact name, notes, engaged date. You can further it to maybe like quoted date, one date as well if you want on there. But again, it's just about sharing this with the team. Any inbound leads that come in, put them into here, and it just means that we've kind of got that data. We get access to this as the marketing sort of partner as well, so we kind of review as well without having to speak to the customer just how well sort of leads and inquiries are doing. Okay, now In terms of content, obviously content's really good. There's a tool called Also Ask that was actually built by a really good agency in Norwich. Fantastic tool that you can basically put some ideas or content, keywords in, etc., and it'll give you ideas of content around those sort of keywords, specifically sort of search phrases or kind of longer tail keywords that people might be putting into Google. Really great tool. You get a certain amount of free searches when you go onto it, but it's called AlsoAsked.com. Highly recommend just to spend some time on there. You can spend hours sort of fiddling with it and kind of putting different things in, but it's a really, really good tool. And then just I'm almost done. Just last thing I want to show you was this kind of picture. Now, something that gets said to us quite a lot is search volume. So it's the amount of searches behind a keyword, and people say we kind of want to rank for a keyword that's got 10,000 searches a month because it's got a huge amount of volume. Good example is we work with a sort of a high-end garden builder, so they produce garden buildings, do stuff like the National Trust, etc., throughout the whole of the UK. When we initially took them on, they want to rank in Google for sheds, and it was quite a long sort of learning process. That they don't sell sheds. They don't sell sheds that are 300 quid from B&Q. They sell 20, 30, 40 grand bespoke luxury garden buildings. Someone who's searching for a shed is not going to be your ideal demographic or target market. So again, one of the key things here that we want to do is, or show or highlight here is, if we say looked at tomato plants, again, if someone's searching tomato plant, they might be looking for a plant, but they might be looking for how to feed a plant. They might be looking to a myriad of different, things to do with tomato plants. And as we get to slightly longer tail keywords, the intent is going to be a little bit more, but the search volumes are lower. And again, why are tomato plants turning yellow? It hasn't got a huge amount of search volume behind it compared to just tomato plant. But maybe if you were a feed company that makes feed for tomato plants or something like that, and one of the key issues people find are that the plants are turning yellow and your feed can help with that. If you can write a bit of content around that and get that to rank at the top of Google, yes, you're not getting 12,000 searches a month, but those 390 people a month who are searching for that, they're all your ideal demographic, ideal customer. We want them to go to that website. So again, it's not necessarily about search volume, it's about the conversion rate of those sort of people going there. So again, for me, I think this is really nice that we illustrate that actually it's not all about search volumes, it's about relevance. And there's plenty of search or keywords out there that they might have less than 10 searches a month, so they don't actually register, but can still drive a huge amount of inquiries and sales and things through a website. So that's me done a lot of talking. I think, Zoe, did you want to sort of ask people on questions, etc.? Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, just do a bit of a Q&A, or if you want to pop anything in the chat, that's fine.
Have we got anything in the chat? Oh yeah, let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Rupert David put, yeah, so yeah, DD, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so GA4, in terms of, what Rupert's put is GA4 really that hard versus Universal Analytics. So at the moment, what we're currently doing is we're looking, or we're implementing GA4. So for people here, Google Analytics is kind of being replaced, or the Universal Analytics, which is currently being used, being replaced by basically a new version. I think it's in June or July next year. So again, for anyone who's got a website, it's key to start looking at that sort of later this year about moving over to the new analytics platform. Speak with your marketing department or your web developers on that. For us, it's something that we're currently looking at and looking at rolling out. We haven't spent a huge amount of time on it, to be sort of really upfront on it. It looks like it's got some fantastic tools within it, so I think it will be good. Our kind of goal is to run the basically in parallel for a period of time to ensure that we, as an agency, and our customers are fully sort of versed on how things are doing and how it works, etc. But it does look like there's some fantastic insights that can be found with it. But with anything, when there's like a new change, you just want to ensure it's done properly. So yeah, we've got limited knowledge on it at the moment, but it's something that we're rolling out over the summer to the majority of our customers. Hope that answers that. Did anyone else have any sort of questions, either in the chat or wanted to talk through? I will take that as a no. Cool, good. Well, hopefully that means I covered everything off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I said, I mean, Zoe, can I send this over to people afterwards, or?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
We did record it as well, so I can
cool.
send a link along with the presentation and stuff. If that would help people. And there's a couple of people that couldn't attend in the end, so I can send that over to them as well. So that's helpful.
Cool, lovely. No, all right, everyone. Well, yes, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, hopefully that's really helped. If anyone wants to bounce ideas off, ask everything, ask any sort of questions around sort of marketing, etc. More than happy to chat through. I'll ping my email address over afterwards. But yeah, if not, I wish everyone all the best, and I hope that you'll have good successful marketing campaigns over the coming year or so. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jim.
Lovely. All right. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye all.